flatlays, I'll pick ones that have just only the text, right? So there's no watercolor, or there's no like complicated stuff. Or actually you can also, but usually for minimalism flatlays, the ones that have not a lot of things in them, I usually pair it together with the calligraphy that I don't have any watercolor around. So basically what I'm doing for these is that I'm only showcasing my calligraphy, right? And I don't want anything else to like take away from that. Okay, so I think which one do you guys feel like you want to flatlay? Okay, black one is number 1, white one is number 2, red one is number 3. Go in the chat. Okay, lots of 2s. Okay, now the fight is between these two. Okay, so number 2, number 3, go. Oh, it's like nearly 50-50. Okay, I think I see more 2s than 3s. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna go with this one. All right. So this one is really. Let me bring this down. Okay, so this one is really plain and very, very simple. So usually I shoot against a white background, and if I have white paper, what I like to do is I put some sort of colored paper on the back. So maybe something like this color along the back, right? And maybe so first and foremost, I want to figure out where I'm going to shoot. So so this is my phone, right? I'll go into the square, and then I'll see if I'm going to shoot from the top. Am I going to shoot this way? Am I going to shoot on an angle? So what is the angle of your photo? So that's the first thing that we're going to decide. So is it going to be top down? Is it going to be from the side? Is it going to be like an angle this way? What is the angle you're going to shoot at? So usually for minimalist ones, especially ones which I just want to showcase the calligraphy, the piece itself is actually like that. So it's only going to be so it fits within the square and it follows the lines like this exactly. All right. I think I'm going to match this color because I've done it with kind of like a mauve kind of ink. So I think this is a bit too harsh. I'm going to switch over to something that's a little bit softer. Give me 2 minutes. I'm going to come back with some paper. Okay, I'm back. That was shorter than 2 minutes. All right. So I have this kind of like mauve paper. I always buy like blank paper, the colors that I like, so that I can match it to my ink. So you can see that compared to this color like this and this color like this, when I was using this color completely overshadowed my calligraphy. But when I have it with a softer background, I can actually see the colors much better, right? So I've shot this piece before, and actually I might just recreate that. What I did was, instead of having it like straight on like this, might be a bit boring. What I always want to do is create some sort of dimension, some sort of lines within my photo. So I actually sometimes I tilt the background paper on the side like this, and I just kind of like line it up this way, so that you can see that the calligraphy, this one, it really like stands out in terms of like where it is, the composition. Okay, Joanna says, do you always use your phone camera or another camera as well? I only use my phone camera, so I don't really use a professional camera. The one I'm using is just an iPhone. So yes. Okay, so next thing I go in, so once I've decided the background, the placement of the piece and how I'm going to shoot it, what I go in and do is I actually go in and take an actual photo. So without anything, just go in and align your piece to however you want the photo to be. So I'm just gonna take a quick snapshot. I don't know if you can see it now, but so you can see that's just what I have on my phone. So I always start out with this kind of thing. And what I do from here is I actually go in and I decide what's the direction of the flow of the angles. So since I have this on a kind of like a diagonal here, I actually decided last time that I was going to put my things in kind of like a diagonal as well. So leave this part blank and then only put the stuff on this side and this side. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So as you may know, I've got a lot of ribbons. So the next thing I do is I kind of go in and choose what kind of like ribbons that I want to use together with the piece. And I just kind of like lay them out. Just kind of put them on the table, see which ones stand out the most to me against the background, or which one doesn't compete the most. So as you can see, I like the jewel tones a lot. I love dark blue, dark red, dark green, and so nothing too neon, I guess, because I think the ribbons, they kind of like create like dimension and flow in your work, and they shouldn't kind of take away from the piece. So I think I was going between these two right here. So these two are more or less like a pale lavender and a pale beige. And I think what a lot of people, or what I do often is I look at the general tone of my work. Like, is it warm tone? Is it cool tone? So if this is warm tone or cool tone, it will decide the color of the ribbon as well. So generally having that cohesion between the tones makes the piece come together also. So this is a bit more cool tone. I mean, to me, this comes out a bit more cool tone, and generally I feel like this ribbon does match a little bit better. So I'm just going to go with that. All right, so okay. And then what I'm going to do with the ribbon is I'm actually going to place it behind the work, and it generally it's going to follow that general direction or the general slant of the paper behind. So just put that behind. All right, and then what I do is I see that there's blank space here, blank space here. I go in and I'm always referring as well to the photo I took. So the photo I took, I always refer to it, like where's the blank space that I need to fill. And when you take the photo, make sure when you zoom out, you can read all the words, because you don't want to take a photo and your work is too small, then you can't read it. So when you're taking the draft photo, make sure the size is such that you can actually read the photo. So this is a bit too small. I'm gonna take another one where I can like zoom in a little bit. So that's a little bit more zoomed in, and I can see my work a little bit better. Okay. So then I go in and identify like the places that need to be kind of filled. So generally, because the ribbon's going this way, and I'm gonna put my things this way, it's gonna fill here and generally here. So you kind of want a little bit of symmetry, so the ribbon should fall in this area and also this area. So that's what I'm going to try and do now. Okay, so just kind of like roll it around that. Make it go in like a little bit of a different direction. Make sure it's a bit like more organic. Okay. Here we can go the other way. Any questions? What does the chat look like?
Question about photography actually. When Nisha is saying when she shoots, she always captures a shadow of her hands.
Um,
So what can she do then?
Ah, okay. All right. So basically, when I shoot, right, the light source is always in front of my camera like this. Yeah. So when your light source is above, can you see the ring light? Then you have the shadow. But if your light source is kind of like in front here, in front of your camera here, so make sure it's not on the top. It's coming from the front, like here, so that the shadow cast is not directly down. It's kind of this way.
Mm-hmm. Good thing. Cool.
So I don't know what to do about this side. Maybe I'll just leave it first. So usually this isn't the final piece for the end. So I'm just gonna kind of just leave it there like that for now. Okay, then I go in and I kind of like pick out the items that are more, how would you say, more color cohesive towards this. So I just kind of put them together. Maybe I'm gonna use this one, and then I'll go into my box and maybe I'll use these ones here. Um, I do like ones with like a little bit of color as well. So maybe the red one with the like pink on the side, maybe two of these. Okay. And then I take out a couple of nibs. Just take. So I mean, you can already see kind of see it coming together. Yeah, usually it takes a while for it to. Um, so I have like random like wax seals as well, and I just like put it in the corner or something. Okay, so then I will, once I've done that, right, I also want to decide which folder I want to use. Maybe I'll try and use this. So what I'm doing here right now is that I am actually just kind of like, I kind of want to follow the two lines that I have created. So one is the diagonal of the layout, and number two is the lines of my piece, which is here. Okay, so one at 45 degrees, one at 90 degrees. Okay, so maybe for the some nibs, I'm just gonna follow that. Maybe this here. Mm, So another thing I like to do is kind of like twirl the ribbon around my holder. So you can see that there's a twirl here. I'll just put it through there like that. You can see like it's kind of like twirling around, like the twirling is like very organic around the ribbon as well. Okay, what else? Let's see. I don't have a pen rest yet. So here. Because I have one flower down there already. So for this side, I'm gonna use one of these larger ones. Sometimes I like to hide it behind the ribbon so that it's not too overwhelming.
Angel, do you use paper or sometimes fabric as well?
Sometimes I use paper. Most of the time I use paper, but if I'm using fabric, then yeah, not too often, but I do use fabric also because I like the way that the fabric scrunches up at the back and it gives a lot of texture. So that's really great. Okay. And then sometimes I have a lot of nibs here already, so maybe I'll put a few here. So I like to create like this like cross nibs like this. Something like that. Right. So this would be more or less kind of like minimal flat lay, which is very straightforward and simple. Okay.
Oh, nice. Pretty.
Like white flowers, but usually I'll put it at the side or down here. But because this is a minimal flat lay, I usually don't sew things that are so like complicated or um, maybe I can. So what I do as well is I kind of like look for symmetry when I am doing my flat lace. So if there's a lot of like white and metallic in this area, I kind of want to balance it on the other side as well, so that you know, it doesn't look like too top heavy or bottom heavy. I don't know if you've attended any flourishing classes, but then Young Hei was saying about it's all about balance. I mean, flatlays are the same thing. You kind of want to balance it on the top and the bottom, and to make sure that they're all more or less like the same. So I have like a bit of like red in this area, and I feel like it's a bit darker over here than here. So I kind of want to balance it out a little bit as well. So I'm going to remove one of these. That's not so complicated. I'm going to put a couple of these here. You know what I mean? So yeah, this is more or less more minimal flatlay as well.
So the question is, how long do you normally take to create one piece of flat lay photo?
I would say on a good day, maybe 20 minutes. On a bad day, like 3 hours. You know, there are some days where you like things just don't look right. Yeah, so those days it takes me like maybe 2 to 3 hours, or maybe I just give up on it like entirely, and I'll just come back another day and do it another day. Okay, so another thing that I wanted to address for this one is that I've been like moving things around to make sure that I'm not like encroaching, like covering my work too much with my props. So I felt like this flourish wasn't really getting seen. So I'm just gonna like gently move my nips and everything away. So you kind of want to have like a space inside your a border of space around your work, so that the eye doesn't really like get confused between the work and the things on the flat lay as well. So you just take a photo. See. And I think the end product looks something like this. The end would be something like that. So something like super simple, not too complicated, anyone also can do. Yeah, because it doesn't need a lot of things. I mean, there's a holder. I mean, some of you will have these little dishes at home, and everybody has nibs, so you can put that in your work as well. Okay.
How do you decide the symmetry of your flat lay? Is it by color or by accessories?
Um, I guess generally, okay, so basically the color is the overall, and then symmetry would be kind of like the how to say, I know the it's in my head, but I don't have the proper words for it. It's like the thing that the point of this area, right? So this area, the colors, do they match the colors in like this area? So down here you have some gold, some pink, and then you have ribbon, and then you have like the red. Are those colors reflected in this area as well? Kind of that kind of feeling. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay.
Okay. What about lighting, warm versus cool?
I definitely always prefer cool lighting. Because I shoot in sunlight, so it's always warm. But I do tend to decrease the warmth on my when I'm editing my photos. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So I will clear this away. The most heartbreaking part about every flat lay is that you have to clear it away, and then you have to keep all the things. So yeah, keeping the things is the one that is annoying most of the time. Right. Okay. I also just actually, since I think we have a little bit of time, I kind of wanted to do like a flat lay, which is more like angular. So let's say this piece, right? A lot of, I think one of the simplest flat lays that you can do is just follow the lines of this of your piece, instead of like having like slant or whatever. If you just want to follow and make like a grid, right, it can look very nice as well. So for example, if I'm just using this one, okay, this one kind of works as well. You can just put it like this, and then maybe the ribbon can go here, right, just kind of like following the general direction. Then following the lines of my artwork. And you can maybe put something here. Put that around your dish as well. So be creative with your ribbons. You don't have to always lay it flat on the thing. You can twirl it around things. You can put it, above. You can twirl it around. You can put it under. This is what really creates the dimension for your artwork, so it doesn't look too flat. Okay, so
A couple of questions. Do you use any app for post editing? And is the white background your desk?
No, the white background is just paper. I have a white desk over there, but then it was too like small to hold all this stuff. So this is kind of like a larger table, and this is just white paper behind. I use mainly Visco and what is that called? Another one. I cannot remember. Let me look at my phone. Visco and Snapseed. Yes, those two. Visco and Snapseed, very good for adjusting lighting and stuff like that.
Do you use manual camera settings like exposure, ISO, white balance, etc.?
No, I'm a very noob person when it comes to photography, so I just use a trusty iPhone, nothing else. Yeah. So,
Okay. Do you use, I notice you use your nails to coordinate with your flatlays sometimes. Do you
yeah,
have any tips on how to do that?
my nails, this one, my nails.
Uh-huh.
Uh, my nails. Oh, actually, I just kind of I used to go to nail artists a lot, and I used to do gel nails a lot. That's why I could like coordinate. But nowadays, because of COVID, and I don't really feel like going to nail parlors that much just to be safe. So I haven't been painting my nails a lot. Yeah, but I do coordinate my nails to. I used to coordinate my nails to the flatlays, and I would think about what colors I want. Then after the next day, I would go and make a piece that is the same color as my nails. Okay, so yeah, so for here, you can have, so you kind of want to make it such that it's like following the straight lines. So say for here, I can put this here, and then I can put like a flower here. Like that. Or if I kind of wanted it to be more monochrome, then I wouldn't use this kind of wood holder because this is again, see, if I put this here, it kind of doesn't really fit because the entire piece is kind of like cool tone. This is silver, this is a cool tone ribbon. So similarly, if I put that thing here, it's not really going to fit that much. So I'm gonna remove that. What else can I use? Oh, I have like a thing here. Let me use my card holder. So I just pulled out my handbag. Anyway, so you can like put like a card holder to like block the, how to say, do like color blocking so that there is like a color block there. You can do there. I think maybe the blocking here would be nicer.
Any tips for taking photos with metallic or shimmery inks? And do you use anything to hold the items in place if they don't stay in place or tend to turn on themselves, like the bottle?
Yeah. This one I use washi tape behind. Just stick it. Yeah. Or that's for the bottles. For metallics, usually I take it at an angle. So this one, because it's silver on black, it shows up pretty well. But for example, this one here that I have, you can see at some angle it doesn't show very well. It's only at like an angle, then you can see that the glow, right? So you have to shoot at that angle so you can see the glow. Yeah. So when you're doing the, okay, I'll go through that in a little bit. Okay, so this is the flat lay. Straight lines, what we're doing is following the lines of the your work. So here and here, just kind of like making it a little bit more cohesive. And then to break up the monotony, we've got a ribbon going across in that direction. Okay, so we're really thinking about the lines of your work and then the lines of like the placement of your things. Right? Okay, so just very quickly as well on the metallics, all the tips and tricks coming up now. So basically what I do when I'm photographing my metallics, just put this. So you can see that at some points it doesn't really reflect well, and only if I do like this, can you see that now it comes across like very luminous like that, right?
Yeah.
So whenever I'm shooting this kind of thing, I just take like any random thing, I'll just put it underneath just to pop it up, and then it stays there. Yeah, and then I will make sure to arrange the flat lay around that. Yeah. You can see that if I put that anything of any height, you can put this, you can put like the holder, anything, because you cannot see. So you just put it underneath and then you can pop it up so that it stays like luminous all the time. And usually I shoot it on an angle, so my light source is generally here. So I shoot it on an angle so that when I look at it, like it reflects all the light. Okay, so it really depends on where your light source is and then angling it towards that. Okay. Okay. All right, let's try something that's a little bit more cool or I also wanted to go through maybe like organizing, like how you would organize many pieces of work. So I've done a couple of the wedding invitations, and I just kind of want to show you how I like organize that, right? So maybe you have one that is here. So this is like the main piece, right? And we're gonna have things that are around it. So I can and the thing is that I want to fit it into a square more or less. So I'm going to play around with the placement like this and like that, just to see how they kind of fit into together. And also because of this what we say, the watercolor, I kind of want to make sure that the watercolor is spread out nicely across here. So there's one at each corner so that it doesn't look too clustered in any one place. So for example, this one here might not be as nice as below like this. So, and as well as this one here, I'm gonna put it down here because there's not much stuff going on down here. So I'm gonna put that down there. So you just kind of want to play around with the composition, and maybe have one here, but then it depends on you lah. But I generally try to arrange my stuff in a square like that. Okay, and usually once I've got that, I also try to maybe follow the lines of what I have going on here. So if like for example, if I couldn't find any better position than this, but then I felt like there's an empty space here, usually what I'll do is I'll fill it with some props. And because there are the line of the flowers is sort of like going in this direction, what I do is I put my pen right there just to fill the space. So you can see that just now it was like pretty empty, and then once I put my pen here, it filled the space without taking away from the rest of the photo, because I'm kind of like following the lines of my work. Yeah. Okay.
A couple more questions.
Yeah, sure.
How do you incorporate and position ink bottles? That's one. The second one is when you mentioned color blocking and then you took out your wallet and put it on the table. So what does that mean? What does color blocking mean?
Like if it's too, like let's say I have this thing here, and I want to, there's a lot of color going on in this area. Okay, so I'm just gonna move it up just so you can see. My camera's not very far enough. So let's say there's a lot of stuff going on in this area, but when I take the photo, it's kind of like this, right? So there's nothing going on here, right? So here looks very white, it looks very empty. So I take something that is solid color and I block out that space with some color that is not too imposing so that it doesn't look so empty.
Cool.
like that.
Nice.
So just to give a little bit of dimension, also again following the lines of your work as well. Okay, so if you're going to be placing a paper, make sure it is just along the grid as well. So you can see this compared to the one without the photo, you can see it down here was really empty if I was going to take a photo in a square, right? You don't have to do it with like paper. Sometimes I like to do it with like flowers like that. But the thing is that I didn't really want to include flowers because too much or as a very big portion because I have my own flowers already. So I won't put anything else that is kind of floral. So that I opted for something that is similar color scheme to whatever I'm shooting. And then I'll put it there. Okay. And then bottles, you can just put it at the side here just for some height. So I like that whenever I'm shooting, I always include something that is like sort of like a different height, or if I have like plate and then I'll put something on the plate just like to give it a little bit more dimension so that there is something interesting coming at you when you look at the photo.
Cool. A question about how would you do flat lay on vellum?
On vellum, I don't have vellum here. Okay, let me see if I have. Okay, give me 1 minute. I'll come back and see. I'll see if I have.
1 minute.
I don't have it anymore. I don't have it anymore. But I did one on what I did here is I have this is actually vellum, and what I did is I put a similar color paper underneath the vellum so that it shows up. Does that make sense? Yeah. So here is. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't have any words with on vellum paper at the moment. But if you go and look at this picture on my Instagram, it's a third row. This one, you can go and have a look. This one is on vellum. It's right there. Okay. All right. Any other questions?
So far, no. That's about it.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, cool.
We have about 15 minutes left. Let's try one more Flatlay with something that's a little bit more cool. Let's try. I don't know what you just like to see. This one, or this one. Okay, you pick. 1, 2, 3, go.
1, 2, or 3. A lot of threes, I see.
Okay. So pick two. That
Somebody said, oh, I think I see a lot of threes.
okay, three. Then this one.
Mm.
Okay, so something a bit more cold. This one has a little bit of metallics. So but this one, I wouldn't really include any backdrop because I do kind of want the flowers here to stand out. So when I want something, one color to stand out, what I go and do is I pick out colors that are either complementary or similar to this color. So since it's warm tone, there's this ribbon, and there's also this one here. I think those two are the ones that I usually would use. So there is that ribbon, and then there is this orange one. So I'm going to leave them out first, and I'm going to see which one I would like to use. Generally, I like to use one, if I have colors, I like to use ones that are complementary and don't compete with the watercolor. So maybe I will use this one. Anyway, we'll see. Um, so since this is more like a bit of like a red, peachy, orange tones, I think maybe I can use this. I can use the ink oil because the green and the green they kind of match. I'll probably use this folder because it has florals on it. So like that. And then I usually go into my paint box and pick out a couple. Just not using that one. Maybe this one as well. Maybe instead of that one, I'll use the green. Yeah, maybe this one is more subtle. So little things actually really matter when I'm doing flat lays. So even like the labels of the paint, I will color coordinate to my flat lay, regardless of whether I actually use the paint or not. It's just for aesthetic. Okay. Maybe this one as well because it is kind of like warm tone. I might use a couple of these. I also have some like what is this, jute bags? Is it no, like canvas bags that I like to like put at the side because it is another high what's it, tall item, and I can provide some dimension. So maybe I'll use this as well. Maybe this one we can include more some plates as well. I think maybe plate would be nice. So maybe put that at the side because I like the florals. Okay.
So do you have ribbons that are very hard to swirl?
Yeah, have this kind. This like organza ribbons.
Oh, yeah.
Annoying, but very nice if you can get them to swirl nicely. Because like now I have folded them up, but if I were to use them, I would normally like go and iron them before I use them just so that they don't have the creases in them. Yeah. So these are super hard to style, and also I do really like the effect that they give because it's kind of you can kind of see through it. So sometimes I would just put my pen and then you can kind of like see through the pen. It's like a little bit of like a translucent thing. It's very nice, even though it's very troublesome. Yes. Also like thin ribbons, so like super thin one like these, very hard because they're so like thin and finicky, but also very nice. I use these during Christmas to do my Christmas flatlays. Okay. All right. So let's try. Let's hope I don't break any plates. I'm very clumsy by nature, so if you hear any crashes in the background, just please ignore. Okay, so for these, I think I'm gonna shoot this on kind of like an angle. So again, going in with my camera, I'm going to go in with a square. I'm gonna like position it, just look through the viewfinder, position it how I actually like to do that. So on an angle, it's gonna look like this. Okay, so you can see that the words are going this way, and here are the places that I need to fill. Okay, so usually for this one, I think I can go in and use the dried flowers because I really like that.
Can bossa?
I'm gonna put that right there. There's a ribbon, and then I usually just put it aside. I don't include that um, unless it's the same color, so I won't. So then I will use the ribbon to kind of like the flowers to kind of like fill in that empty space on the paper, right? So I think maybe for you it's a little bit different, but for me I can see the entire work. So once I've done that, I go in. I'm always taking like photos of my work, so I always like take like progress shots. So once I've done that, I go in and take another photo, and then I kind of like figure out where else I need to put the things. Okay, so now that area is filled, I need to fill this area and something around there. And maybe the ribbon can go this way. I need to fill stuff here, so maybe I will put it this way. Then I'll bring that over here. So you kind of don't really want it to go in like always the same direction like this. So when you're doing the ribbon, kind of like try and like twist it in a different way, or maybe like a different curve so that, you know, it has a bit of dimension. Okay. So then this one, maybe this one can go over the flowers. That. Then out there. So again, I go into the photo I took, and I'm kind of trying to figure out where I'm going to put my pen. So I'm going to, now that I put down the ribbon, I take another photo, because when I'm composing all these flat lays, it's all about where I'm putting, how it looks eventually. So always check in your photo how it looks at the end. So now what I have is something like this. Okay, I don't know if you can see. So maybe I'll put my pen this way, following the line of my work. So I'll put that right there. Like this. And then we have the rest. So there's a lot of space, I think, like here and in this general area that I need to fill around here. So for that, I'm going to put the plate there. Okay. There, and then maybe this. So the reason why I chose this one instead of this one is because I'm trying to balance. Again, I'm looking at this color symmetry. So there's a lot of like earthy tones in this area. You can see that the dried flowers really is like a brown, sort of very warm brown. So I'm trying to balance that on the other side as well. And here I've got my folder, which is kind of like open, and I'm gonna reposition it. And then I put this one here because this color matches that. So again, that symmetry is what's happening here. And then sometimes I'll go in and then maybe, so I have to fill this space here as well into my photo because there's space right here. Okay. Usually I'll go in and put maybe a couple of nibs here. I like to cross them. I don't know why, but I just do. I just like to cross them this way. Yeah. They're all pointing this way, so I'm gonna have one that's pointing the other way just for variation. Maybe we can put some of these around. Maybe some here. I'd like to be quite sparing of these. So one inside that. And then I go in, and then once it's more or less coming together, so I'm going to take a photo just to show you how it looks. Okay. So now to me it looks like this. Okay, so I can see that the last space I have to fill is here, and then I think down here there needs to be some stuff here as well. So here and here. So here, what I'm going to do is maybe just put something that doesn't, because usually my light is coming from this way, so I don't really want to put anything that really obstructs the light. So I might put some, like a clear bottle or something that's white or something that is not really obstructing the light. So maybe this one would be okay. Just put that there, and then let's take the photo again to show you how it looks. So now it looks like this. So from there to this. So now you have that area filled. I think some stuff needs to go here. So I'm gonna put like one more heart here. Make sure that it's a bit more full. Okay, so then there's something here that I need to put, right? I think here looks a bit empty. So I'm gonna use this. Again, the idea of like blocking off, I'm gonna put this box right here. so that when I take the photo, it's kind of, it doesn't take away from the other stuff, but it looks more full. So let me just take the photo again. And then that's the end product. So you can track your own progress from that to that to that, and then putting all the random stuff down, and then that, and then final touches. Then you'll go in and edit the stuff and edit the photos and the lighting and everything. Okay, so that's more or less how I complete a more full flat lay. So this one was definitely more full than the others. And yeah, so if I'm not happy with the flat lay, I think this is generally quite okay, but I think one thing that could be better is I feel that the stuff is kind of encroaching into the space of the flowers and everything. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move everything just like ever so slightly further away from whatever from the piece. So we'll just move everything slightly further away. And just give it space to breathe. All right. Okay. Yeah, so that's more or less what I have to share for the full flat lay. I'm gonna be, is there any questions? Just like a quick question and answer session at the end for about 10 to 15 minutes.
Questions? Anyone? Or you want to give Rachel a challenge?
Yeah, you can if you want. I think there were questions about like apps and stuff, about how I edit my photos. I can share a bit more. What app do I use to alter the photos? Okay. I don't know if you can see this very well because it is I'm doing using a visualizer, but let me try. Okay. Let me try and edit the photo I just took. It's
Have
not
you
yet
tried using
right.
washi tape as a decoration? Somebody wants to know. Washi tape?
No. So I'm just taking the photo. So it looks something like this. Oh wait, the angle's off. Hold on, I'll get to your washi tape question in like 2 seconds. I just am very bad at multitasking, so I can't talk while I'm taking the photo. And I also hold my breath. Okay. All right. So this is what the final photo looks like. I don't know if I increase the brightness, you can see it. You editing it? No. I don't use any presets. Have I tried to use washi tape as decoration? Yes, I have used washi tape as decoration before, but I don't know, something about washi tape makes me feel like, I don't know, it is quite nice, huh? But it depends on the design of the washi tape, I guess. Is it like, is it same as, is it cohesive with your flat lay? Is it like, what are the colors? Does it suit the flat lay? And also, I feel like they kind of roll everywhere. So they always end up rolling off my table. I'm just like, forget it. I'm not using washi tapes anymore. Okay. The same rules apply for like pop art style lettering, kind of like where the letters go in different angles. I am not sure because I haven't photographed that kind of art before. So I'm not sure, but I think so. I think generally it depends on like what is the general like aesthetic that you're going for. Because the aesthetic of my stuff is pretty soft, it's pretty gentle. But I guess for pop art, it would be very like graphic. It would be very strong. So the stuff that you include in the pop art flat lay, it would be very different from what I have here. Like, I don't think you would use some dried flowers together with the pop art or like a perfume bottle together with the pop art, unless it's got like that same really strong aesthetic or strong lines. So you know, whatever you're using has to be congruent with the general aesthetic of your art. So just show you how I edit. I go into Snapseed. I usually use Snapseed, and I import the photo. And then what I do is I use the selective tool first, and then I increase the brightness of like certain areas. Let me see. So I can increase the brightness of like certain areas. Can you see that area is getting like lighter and darker? Yeah. So increase the brightness of the certain areas that I want to highlight. So just make sure that usually I just do it at each corner, because the corners I feel sometimes just look a bit dark to me. Right.
Paul is asking if this is the free version or the paid version.
I don't know. I think I paid for the app. I usually, in like photo editing apps, I'll just bite the bullet. I'll just pay. Yeah. I don't because sometimes the what is it, the free the paid version is like a few dollars only. I'm just like, yeah, okay, just close one eye, just buy it lah. Yeah. So, and then I export, and then I save. Okay, and then I modify. And then another app I use is Facetune. Actually, this is like Photoshop. It's supposed to be for people who are like photoshopping their bodies, but then I just use it for I just use it for photos. And what I do is I go into like the filters and the lighting. So there's like lighter exposure, bright, darker, and stuff like that. And what I do is I go to exposure and make it less, and I can actually use my finger and like increase the exposure on areas that I want to highlight.
Wow, cool.
Yeah. And then I also go into lighting, and then there's this thing called S curve, and I increase the S curve. So if you increase the S curve, you can see the colors get more vibrant, right? Okay. So what I do is I just do a little bit, and then I clear it, and I just only apply it on the flower area so that the flower color pops a little bit. Maybe the text also. Yeah. Then you can see the difference between, like, can you see that? The lighting is much more even. Okay, so once the lighting is much more even, I export it I save to my camera roll, and then I go to Visco. I don't have the paid version of Visco, I just use the normal one. And they recently changed the layout, so I'm still very bad at using this. They changed the layout like for the first time since they released the app, and I was whining about it for days. Okay, I think, okay, then we have edit. I usually use like, I go in and I choose the one that, like, how to say, that makes the calligraphy and the color stand out the most to me without looking like oversaturated. So I just go like really quickly, and then whichever catches my eye or that looks nice, I will just choose. So I think for this one, I think there was one at E8 or E9. Yes, A9 looked very good, nice to me, because the colors look very even. Okay, so for this, I won't even go to all the way to 12. I'll maybe put it at like 2 or 3. And then I will increase the exposure a little bit, increase the contrast. I often sharpen my photos a lot and increase the clarity so that it's like the image is like super sharp. Okay, and then I usually don't touch the saturation. Maybe for this, because I increase the exposure a lot, it's a bit under saturated, so I'm going to increase the saturation a little bit. And then white balance, generally I put it far away from my face and then look at the general color that it's showing up. I don't know how it's showing up on the screen, but to me it's a very green and very yellow. So I'm gonna decrease the warmth, and then tint it a little bit pink. Then I can save it already.
Rachel, what app is this that you are using? The last one you were using?
So let's go in and favorite those photos. Okay. So show you the progression. So first it was this, then it was this, then it was this, and then it was this, and then it was this, and it was this, and then finally we changed the color. So yay, Flatlay.
Yay. What app was the last thing you were using? VSCO, is it? Vesco.
So that's the one that I use. If you
Okay.
see, this,
So nice.
so I changed the angle a little bit as well. So
Mm.
from that photo to this photo, I did a little bit of the angle adjustment,
Mm.
just so that
Cool.
you can see, you can track your own progress. Okay. So yeah, that's more or less all that I have to share. I hope that this general session was kind of useful. How do you maintain a consistent look throughout your feed?
Mm. Good
Yeah,
question.
good question. Let's go to my Instagram. So this is my Instagram, and generally what I go for usually is flatlays that look quite full. So you can see, you know, like on the when you look at it generally, it kind of looks like the same thing, but then just in different colors. Yeah. I think it depends on whether you have to also plan out what kind of feed overall that you're going for. Is it like a minimalist, just your work kind of feed? Is it kind of like a full like flat lay feed like mine like this? Um, Also, I don't really plan like the colors and everything, but sometimes I do look at the overall feed and then I'm just like, okay, so I try to have change the colors up a bit every once in a while. So at any point when you scroll, right, there is a little bit of a different color every time. So here there's some green and then there's some red here and then there's also blue and purple and there's black and then there's white. And you scroll again, there's the same thing. So there's green, there's purple, there's white, there's red, there's blue. So I try to keep it a little bit like, on generally a bit more colorful when people scroll through my feed. But that's just my own aesthetic lah. There are some people who are very minimalist. They just only take photos of their work and they're very consistent. So I think generally in terms of creating overall feed, right, you just need to be consistent in your posting and your aesthetic.
Do you ever throw out your old, how often do you change out all your props?
I don't throw out my props because I feel like they're all going to be beneficial to me at some point.
Okay.
I usually I'm a hoarder. I find it very difficult to throw things out. So usually they don't get thrown out. I just collect more stuff and more garbage and it just accumulates in my house.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Last few questions. Anything regarding like calligraphy as well? You can let me know.
I just wanted to say that, because Rachel, just now you were inspiring a lot of shopping.
Yes.
I was saying like, oh, I need to go and buy a ribbon and I got to go and buy this thing. But I think one of the challenges about doing flat lay is you can use what is around you so that flat lay represents something of you. So it could be things that you like, because I see Rachel does that. She does, like use her own handbag, her lipstick, the brands that she likes. So it can be things that are representative of you. So that could be something interesting as well. Okay, wait, we're getting some more questions. What bases do you normally use?
What
And
base?
where do you bases, I suppose, if Iman, do you mean like the base color, the paper at the back? And Priyanka is asking, where do you get your inspiration from? Do you get a flat lay inspo or something?
Sometimes I go on Instagram if I'm in like a flatlay rut. I go on Instagram and I'll like look at my favorite like accounts on Instagram. Or actually just like the discover page. I don't really follow a lot of people who do like flatlays and stuff. But generally when I'm planning my flatlays, it's about what I want to showcase, which is my work. So everything that I plan about my flatlay, it revolves around this centerpiece. One important thing when you're planning your flatlay is that when you take the photo, you must see your work first. Then you see the other things. Like when you click into the photo, what catches your attention the most? Is it the work or is it the props? What is the focus of it? Because sometimes a lot of other people, they have like flat lays, and then there's no general focus because it's just kind of like lifestyle. They have things like that, and yes, that is their aesthetic. They have like handbag, and then like shoes and stuff like that. It's like an outfit. Okay, that's very cute. But then for us as artists and calligraphers, what we're showcasing is not all the other things, actually our work. So when you're looking at a flat lay, what do you see first? What jumps out at you? That's the most important thing when I'm satisfied with the final photo.
Cool. That's great. So the question is about the background, the paper or the board, the colors or textures.
I usually just use white because I don't really like it to compete with whatever I'm writing. So, like for example, okay, let's just dismantle this thing very quickly. Guess who has to clean all this up later? Like, for example, if I'm doing something like this, right? I won't have anything behind. It was just white because the point of this flat lay is to showcase the gold plus the really rich color of the paper. So usually I don't have, for colored paper, I don't have any like background. Maybe if it was something like this, maybe something that's a bit softer, right? It's okay to have a bit of a background as well. So this one, I don't know if you guys can see, but I really like, the thing that I really liked about this is that there's like some blue and green here that really like made all the other colors pop. And so to bring out that color, I sometimes would put it on something like this. So just to bring out the colors that are maybe could be overlooked when it's just by itself. So the background, the purpose of the background is to number one is to block out the colors and fill spaces. Number two is to bring out elements in your work that previously might have been overlooked. Because if you look at it like here, right? Like if I put it like this, right? You can see the blue and the greens much better than if it's just by itself like that. Like the color of the background really brings out the blue tones here and the blue tones like that. Yeah.
Yes, very nice. Great. Rachel, I noticed that you use things of different textures in your props. So something soft, something hard, something shiny.
Yeah.
Is it something that you consciously do to mix up all the textures?
Yeah, I guess like sometimes I will put something that's like shiny. So basically what I'm doing, right, is because even though it's called flat lay, I don't want it to look flat. I want it to look like a bit like three-dimensional. I want it to have like different layers, different textures. All these things are like interesting to the eye. So like different height, different texture, different finish. You can put some rings on the plate to have a little bit of like a shine, like here. You can have this like right here to add a bit of contrast. Things like that. Very simple um, additions, which you might not think about.
So nice.
Cool. Yeah, look at my rings now. Yeah. All right, so I think that's more or less what I have to share. Are there any last questions before we wrap up? Anything that I didn't really explain properly, or I said something you were like, huh?
I saw on IG that you write with Flatlay.
You write with flat lay. Oh, like when I film my videos, it's like with a flat lay. Okay. So basically, when I upload on IG, right, it is a square, right? So I kind of like set up my phone on a tripod and I go to the video, and I actually like visualize, like I actually put washi tape on my phone to mark out the square. And then after that I will put my paper where it's supposed to be, right, like that. And then I will arrange the stuff like this. So basically, imagine, right, I have like washi tape here and here to mark out the square, and then I'll go in and arrange the flat lay, and then I will position my hand and I'll write after that. And
Wow,
I'll
so cool. Giving away all your secrets.
yeah, I mean, it looks very nice on Instagram, but really, when you look at me writing, it's like it's a lot less glamorous than you think. Because my head is like different angles, and then my hand is like this, and then my phone is like in my face. I'm like breathing on my phone. Because sometimes the phone is so close to my face, right? When you play the video, you can hear me breathing into the phone. It's actually very unglamorous. It's really very, very unglamorous. So yeah, behind the scenes, there's a lot of mess. Even if I just if I can show you, there's a lot of mess on the side here. There's a lot of on the side here as well, but you guys only see what's on the table. So outside of the camera, there's a lot of yeah.
That's
So
the life of
don't,
Instagram.
don't be fooled. Yeah, what you see on the gram isn't reality at all, guys.
Thank you so much, Rachel. I think everyone has enjoyed that thoroughly. It's such a treat, eye candy all around.
Thank
And
you.
thank you so much. Yeah, it's been great.
Thank you,
Thank
Doris.
you. Thank you. Thank
I
you.
hope you guys all
Rachel,
enjoyed this.
yeah. Are we going to share